I had a chance to visit Lexington SC in March 2025 for one of their first ever USL Championship matches against a new regional rival in Indy 11. And I truly went into this one with very little expectations. After seeing things online about Lexington SC's fan support, or I guess lack thereof, and it's unfortunate that those things are out there because what I discovered was a very friendly fan base with dedicated fans who, while they may not be the biggest in number yet, have a foundation for a solid experience. This is my away day review of Lexington SC and Lexington SC Stadium. Yeah, that really is the name. Not exactly Turf Moor or San Siro, is it? In case you're not familiar with my away day reviews, I rate each stadium based on 4 categories. This will be the first video with a new scoring system, as I've broken up the old value category into 2 categories, tickets and parking, as well as food and merch. I just felt like lumping all of that into one category was a little bit cumbersome. Then I have combined game quality and vibes into the fun category, as I felt a lot of my scores from the past were a bit too situational, but fun will also include my thoughts on the fans and atmosphere as well for a more fair category. Because I want these videos to be a guide for you to what you can expect if you decide to go to a Lexington SC game or any other club that I cover in the future. Maybe you're in town for vacation or work, or maybe you're an away supporter like I was with the Indy 11 supporters. And I want this to be an accurate look at each stadium and each club and the experience you might have at one of these games. It could be a great 4-3 game that I had a lot of fun with, and that would raise the score up way up into the moon. But then if it was a boring game, the score would be dragged way down into the mud, and I don't think that's fair. But we're going to start with the category that remains untouched, the stadium itself. And what we're looking at here is brand new construction. Lexington SC Stadium just opened in August of 2024, timed to open with the debut of the club's new Women's Super League club. It seats 7,500 fans with room to grow to 11,000 if demand gets there. More on that in a bit. It's surrounded by cleared fields that clearly have been earmarked for new construction. Take a look at this video and compare it to these images of the design idea from the club itself. You see new shops, new restaurants, even a hotel building as well in these images. So there's clearly a vision, it's just not a reality yet. And it's also the present home of the club's training fields as well, which is good for the club and its development, but right now the surrounding area is a little bit empty. Inside you have a pretty open layout when you walk in, the outdoor concourses feel very roomy and I had zero issue getting around, but when you go under the main stands, it kind of feels like you're walking in Cloud City and you're a guest of Lando Calrissian.
Hello, what have we here?
That's because the stadium itself is modular in construction, and that means it's very, very metal. And I'm not talking about the music either. But it doesn't look cyberpunk or anything like that, and everything has that new polished type of feel to it. It's laid out nicely, and I never felt uncomfortable in the stadium, so I'm not going to dock any points for how it was built. It might turn you off, though, if you're looking for something a little bit more permanent. I didn't think it was a problem, though. Restrooms are fine, and they were plenty around. The seats themselves were comfortable and didn't feel too snug, and they all had seat backs, which is a very big win in my book. I'll talk about the team store and the merch situation in the food and merch section, but I do have to dock the stadium some points though, because the location is absolutely abysmal. It is located about 25 minutes outside of Lexington City Center with absolutely zero public transit to get to and from. And this is a look at the commute into the stadium. As you can see, it is basically rural Lexington, for lack of a better term here. And then, boom, you get the stadium right there, just kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. And as you take a look around the stadium here as well, there is it's very much a work in progress.
Welcome to horse racing country, Tom.
Horse racing country, bourbon, and basketball.
There you go.
And I said soccer in none of those things. But talk to fans at Lexington, and it's really nothing new for them. Their last location, as you can see here, was about 25 minutes north of downtown in a town called Georgetown. So really, it's nothing new, and they have some nice digs now.
No, it was on loan. It was a local college in Georgetown, so we were just kind of borrowing it while this was being built. So it's a whole lot better.
It's amazing. It seems like it's all going so fast. It started out really small, and then it just kind of exploded, and then it feels a little surreal being in the championship in our new stadium. everything feels so brand new and exciting.
So I'm going to give the stadium a 7. It's nicely built for being modular, it's comfortable, it's visually appealing when you catch a game, and it definitely has room to improve once everything is kind of completed around it. But the location drags down the score immensely, and as well as the fact that it's just a little empty around the stadium. So on now to tickets and parking, and it's a really good timing that I am changing up my scoring system to put more emphasis on ticket prices and parking, because I need to establish what is a 10 out of 10, and Lexington SC is getting a 10 out of 10 here. I'm going to explain why. First, the tickets. I was invited by Indy 11's Brickyard Battalion to join them and got free away supporters tickets, though they were actually near midfield due to a bit of a logistical entanglement with the ticket office, but hey, it's in my favor, so I'm not complaining. But then a couple days before, I got this email offering free tickets to the men's game as well as the women's game on Sunday, and a discount on team merch as well. So what did I have to do to earn this glorious offer? Well, it wasn't because I have a semi-successful YouTube channel with over 2,000 subscribers now. Seriously, thank you so much for that, and I'll have a video talking about that coming up in the coming days after this video is posted. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, it's right down here. You just click on the button, and it really helps this channel out and helps it grow. So thank you. But all I had to do was update my email preferences. That's it. And more free front row tickets were mine, this time over toward the Railbird side, which is their supporters section. I did it for the journalism. So I paid $0 for what ended up being 4 tickets. And even if I did have to pay, tickets are only about $16 per game. That gets you in the stadium. That is not bad for this day and age. But I do have a pro tip here, though. If you are interested in going to a game in a particular community and you have a little bit of an advance warning, go ahead and sign up for the club's email blast, because this is a good way to get discounts on tickets like the one that I got. Or just contact the away supporters group of the club that is going to be playing at this particular stadium. A lot of times they get tickets for free, especially in the MLS, but in the case of Indy 11, I didn't have to pay for mine either. A lot of groundshoppers in England, for instance, they take advantage of away supporters tickets being available to get into some otherwise tough locations. For instance, back in April 2024, I didn't actually need to get away tickets for this Reading FC at Bolton Wanderers match I went to, but I got a pretty solid deal for doing so, and I got a great perspective on the rest of the stadium. Plenty of parking around the stadium, and the best part about parking, free. $0. Yeah, they don't charge. They don't even have people waving people in and into spots. You just show up, park, and you're done. So how can this not be an absolute 10 out of 10? Tickets, free. Parking, free. And getting both of these things for free was absolutely and utterly painless, and I didn't have to be some hotshot to get both. Another one where Lexington SC is going to get a pretty good score here is their food and merch, mostly for the food and beverages. The price of food at American sporting events is the stuff of internet memes. I mean, check out Footy Scran and you'll see what I mean. But Lexington actually has really good value on their food choices here. $3 for a hot dog, $5 if you want to dress up a bit, $3 for a soda and water, $7 for basic domestic beers, and $9 for this very good stadium ale that was grabbed here. Let's see how it is. That's smooth.
You know what, Tom? This is a pretty good little ale.
This is a very good ale. And $9 too. $9 at an American professional sporting event, you can get a beer that's more than the size of your pinky for less than $10. You can't beat that. They did have Chick-fil-A there, and I think it was over in this little family area. And there was also this grab-and-go market where you can get basic fare. But there was also this concession stand that had churros for $5. I was tempted, but Ethan and I ate beforehand, so responsibility first. The team store was over on the north side of the stadium, and this was the only place to buy merch from, which I feel was a mistake by the club. Most places have little kiosks or tents or stands with some merch to get, but that meant at halftime, everyone piled into this team store, and that made for a long line and cramped spaces, and actually kind of made me late for the second half. But the store itself is fine, with plenty of good-looking merch for display, though they didn't have a pin badge for sale, which was disappointing, as I get one from every game that I go to. Guess I'll just look at the online store for that. They did have a lot of clearance and discount merch for sale as well, though no adult-sized jerseys, so I was sad and I didn't get anything this time around, but Just my luck, I guess. But the fact that Lexington SC has cheap eats and drinks and a good selection of merch at good value makes this an 8.5. It does lose a bit because one central location to buy merch and maybe the food options could have been a bit more diverse. All things that might be improved on over time, but I really have nothing to really complain about here. So now on to the fun, and this category will envelop game quality, the fans themselves, and the atmosphere of a game. So let's get the good out of the way. This was a game between two clubs that will probably be fighting for spots in the top of the Eastern Conference, but maybe are a step or two below the likes of Louisville City, Charleston Battery, or maybe even Rhode Island FC in the reckoning. Indy 11 was able to score first, and they tried to hold on to steal 3 points from a very challenging opponent, but Lexington was able to respond and hold on to a home point. But a very entertaining game from a gameplay and high-stakes perspective, both in the standings as well as this being a new regional rivalry. And the Brickyard Battalion is always a good time no matter where they are.
Okay, Brickyard Battalion, scale of 1 to 10, rate Ethan's shoes.
Negative 10.
Negative 10?
Negative 20.
Gotcha.
For the Louisville colors, I'm going to give it a 0, but for the purple, which I actually like, it's about a 7 of 10.
Okay. Jason Wyrick, one of the friendliest Brickyard Battalion fans.
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I don't know that they'll agree with you. But
No,
We love you. We love you.
These guys love me, but I'm not sure I'm going to be well liked in there, but you know.
But on the other hand, the Railbirds of Lexington definitely have some growing pains. They're barely into the stadium 6 months, have barely existed for more than 2 years, and it's important to understand that this part of Kentucky isn't exactly a boiling soccer hotbed. It has an uphill battle to climb when it comes to the other big sports entity in town.
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky is very much a basketball state. You know, I grew up in a rural area, and he did too, and kids just have always come up playing basketball, and soccer has taken a long time to catch on. I actually teach in a district that's only had soccer for about 8 years.
Really?
Yeah. So it's growing, but it's just, it's slow progress.
It's the inverse problem that clubs like Tampa Bay Sun had when they launched. There was plenty of fan interest, but their facility is makeshift and was a damper overall on the fan experience. Lexington, on the other hand, is the polar opposite, with a great stadium and infrastructure, but the fan support is tailing behind. It was a bit stark when Ethan and I were there, but to be fair, the game we attended did have an announced attendance of about 4,200, which is their second highest ever. And also, I use the Tampa Bay Sun as a comparison because Lexington also has a team in the USL Super League. In fact, to their credit, the women's club actually draws about as well as the men in Lexington, so thumbs up there. There's the foundation of something solid here. It'll just take some time to develop. So I'm giving the fun score a 6.5. It's boosted by the competitive game with two similarly talented clubs and some really friendly fans. But again, this club just lacks atmosphere, and the fan base is a bit of a work in progress, and I have to acknowledge that. I'll revisit Lexington in a couple of seasons and see if the atmosphere has gotten better. I hope it does, and I'm confident it will. But even still, this gives Lexington a very solid 32 out of 40. And if I reviewed this stadium last year, that would have put Lexington firmly in the top half of the standings. This place is a diamond in the rough, and I hope Lexington really latches on. But it even outpaces two newer MLS clubs as well, though a lot of that has to do with the extreme affordability of attending matches. San Diego and Nashville were rated on the old system, which had a greater weight on game quality and less weight on value. Although even in the new system, I will say that San Diego and Nashville probably would have still been a little bit behind Lexington in this regard. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe and more. It helps get this video out to new eyes and new soccer fans just like you. And drop a comment below if you've been to a Lexington game or a Lexington supporter. I want to hear from you and what you think about your club and where your club is going. Also, thank you to my Zombie Ultras for helping me get to this game, like Ethan Campbell, who joined me for this game. He was my co-pilot for this one, but really, I have 13 co-pilots, as you can see right here on this channel, and your support really does mean the world to me, as well as the 99-cent supporters section. Kevin Marshall, I see you just joined there, so thank you very much, you tailgating legend you. This is your soccer zombie, Tom Franklin here. I wanted to let you know that the next match that I'm going to be covering for this channel is going to be between the Des Moines Menace and Union Omaha in the U.S. Open Cup. I'm going to make the trek up to Iowa to watch the old men, Sasha Cleaston and Bradley Wright Phillips in person, try to knock off Union Omaha and get a little revenge after last season. I've covered the Open Cup twice on this channel, and I'll pop those videos right up here. The video to my right over here covers the Union Omaha match against Sporting Kansas City. The video to my left covers Indy 11's match at Sporting Kansas City. Surprised YouTube doesn't think I'm a Sporting KC channel. That'd be scary.